Hi, this is Mike Crow, and I run a home inspection business. In fact, I've run a couple of home inspection businesses. The true joy for me, though, has been helping literally thousands of home inspectors build really solid home inspection businesses as well. We can help a single-man operation be able to do over $300,000 a year, maybe all the way up to $400,000 a year as a single inspector operation. Even better for me is the 80-plus companies that we have helped be able to build million-dollar home inspection businesses. I would like to help you be able to do the same thing. Now, I will tell you that I've given Mr. Vance Morris over here a hard time because he is our resident Disney expert, and I told him, you know, we're trying to hold the questions and the comments to the end, so I'm sure he's not going to like interrupt me in the middle of this. That was a warning for him. But at the end, I want to make sure you get his opinions and thoughts on this, because one of the coolest things that Susan and I have done now twice is go to Disney with him, okay, and watch what he does and how he does it and some good stuff like that. All right, we are now working on, I believe, the strategy number 6 or chapter 8. Does that sound right to you guys? So this one is called Learn the Truth. All right, and I may actually combine a couple things here, because I may. Let's see, I have about 20 minutes, and what I want to try to do is space this out, because there's actually this and a small piece of the next chapter I want to talk with you about as well. One is get out and about routinely, okay? One of the biggest things that Miss Belinda, you guys know who Miss Belinda is. She got the award for the breakfast, okay, in the morning and everything, and she makes, oh, I cannot wait for you to be here in the morning and get her breakfast. Oh my goodness.
8 o'clock.
She is making fresh eggs and sausage, and there's fruit out there and straw. It is amazing, okay? But get out routinely. All right, so many of you know that I have a stool that I bought for my very first show back in 2003, okay? 2004 was the show, actually. And I still have that bar stool is what I guess what I call it. It's really, not really, what's another word for a bar stool, Shakur?
Bar stool.
All right. So anyway, I have this bar stool that I like to drink from. Okay, it's just the bar stool. It is okay. So anyway, I literally set my chair. And by the way, how many of you know who Trammell Crow is? Okay, most of you probably don't. Trammell Crow. People said, you want to be a millionaire, go work for Trammell Crow. Okay. People ask me if I'm related to him, and I tell them that we don't talk about it. Okay. That means no. But one of the things that he did was he would set his desk right in the middle of the room, and everybody would work around him, okay? And that way he could coach and he could talk and he could help. So I literally have my bar stool set right there at the kitchen, and I sit and I can see everybody that comes in the front door, and I can talk with people. I talk with Miss Belinda probably more than anybody out there. So the secret here is get out and about routinely, okay? Craig is one of our marketing coaches. I went and rode with him for a day, okay? Jacqueline was one of our marketing people. I went and rode with her for like 4 days, okay? I used to sit in our client coordinator room, and by the way, I was a little vicious about this. I would sit in there and videotape them answering the phone. And then after they got off the phone, I would say, okay, let's watch that and see how that went, okay? But getting out there is very, very important. One thing that this person says was, Lee Cockrell said, I'd make personal trips to key locations regularly throughout each day. Did you notice that? Each day, okay? And I'd make the full tour again before I went home. When I was in the grocery business, as a manager, one of my jobs, as far as I felt, was to walk the store, and I would walk from department to department to department to department. And anytime I ran into a problem, I wasn't there to criticize them. I was there to help them. What can we do to get this thing fixed and worked and up and running faster than anything else? And so that was a big part of it. But get out and, you know, we ride with our home inspectors on a regular basis. Jonathan, we probably ride with all of our home inspectors at least once a month, maybe more.
That's what we try for, once a month.
We try what?
Once a month.
We try for at least once a month. We have 3 managers that go ride with the inspectors, right? But I used to go ride with the inspectors. Jonathan used to go ride with the inspectors, okay? All right, number 2, get a ground level view. This is the same thing of kind of getting out and walking around. If you're going to figure out what's in your business, okay, at some point, if somebody's answering your phones, you got to be listening to them answer the phones. I used to record every phone call. All right, let me correct that. I record every phone call, all right? I used to listen to the phone calls every single day. So as I was driving around, and back then it was on cassette tapes, you might remember those things that, yeah. I have a Discover card that looks like a cassette tape. It should have a pencil laying in front of it, so I could, anyway. But get a ground level view. And I listen to the phone calls all the time. Jonathan, I listen to his phone calls on a regular basis. Sometimes when I want to be really, really mean, I say, hey, Jonathan, pull up some phone calls. Let's listen to them together, okay? We usually get through 4 or 5 of them before he goes, I need to go talk to the office, all right? And by the way, our office isn't perfect. I don't expect them to be perfect. But listening at that ground view is very important, okay? Next, meet regularly with direct reports. Meet regularly with direct reports. And he says people, processes, and projects. And then profit, okay? Davey, he got this one right. Maybe I would have learned it from him if I hadn't learned it from you, or I probably would have skipped over it because I didn't know you, okay? Here's you have to understand again, Susan and I, when we grew up, we were poor, okay? And we thought that rich people were greedy. We went to church, they told us that, the love of money was the root of all evil, okay? I have now learned the more money you have, the more people you can help. And Susan and I, literally, a lot of times we'll go to a restaurant and we'll get a $30 meal and we'll leave a $30 tip. That's my form of charity because I know that person's in there, they're working hard, they're working, I gotta give them credit for that. And so it's kind of fun because for some of you guys that don't know, Thursday night we're going to a really cool place for dinner. We went there Monday night with the guys, and the lady that was going, oh yeah, Mr. Crow's here, yes, I'll work that tonight. But meet regularly with direct reports. One of the things that Jonathan and I do is what we call a freeze frame every week. We do a freeze frame for every company. A freeze frame is, what are our numbers, okay? And honestly, I started it because every now and then we would forget to pay a bill. And I would go, that's not me. We don't forget to pay a bill, all right? But it has grown into so much more. And one of the things I asked Bree, when I started meeting with Bree, one of the things I asked Jonathan is, what's our top 5 metrics? So when I met with that president of the company, I said, what are the top 5 metrics you measure? He couldn't tell me. I said, well, it's going to get worse then. He said, what? I said, what are the top 5 metrics for all 17 divisions of your company? He didn't have a clue, okay? So I said, if you don't have a clue, how do your managers have a clue? Have you asked the managers in those departments what their top 5 metrics are? Now, the company that had hired me, and I went out there, again, just recently, about less than a month ago for a second visit. Boy, I will tell you, some things really changed from the first visit to the second visit. I came in, people were going, my top 5 metrics are, okay? And by the way, here's what I've accomplished this last time with you. And of course, my thing was, well, thank you for noticing, okay? Please make sure that the owners know so that maybe they'll invite me back, okay? And then the other is assemble small groups. One of the most effective ways to gather information is to bring employees together to talk. I find that groups of 10 or 12 people is the best size. I love mastermind groups because one of the things is that I learn stuff from it, but the truth is, you all learn from each other as much as I bring to the table in a lot of cases as well, and it's so much fun with that. If you have less than 12 people, then great. Most companies go in different stages. We tell people in the home inspection business, 1 to 3 inspectors is first gear. What is the easiest gear? Because you know everybody, you see everybody, you talk to everybody every day, okay? And then 4 to 6 inspectors, things start going past you without you seeing them. And if you haven't trained people to keep an eye on the systems and stuff, things start moving sideways, okay? And a lot of companies never get to 6 inspectors because they crash and burn because they didn't shift gears. They're trying to drive from, Maryland to San Francisco in first gear. Can you do that? Can you drive from Maryland to San Francisco in first gear in your car? Can you put your car in first gear and drive there?
Sure.
Yeah, sure you can.
Right.
How much longer will it take to get there, right? And what are the chances that you'll damage the vehicle on the way there? Because you're wanting to get there faster, right? And so one of the things is that we have to try to do that. The other thing you have to do is try to make people feel safe. I've watched Davey do the whole hand thing, so with eyes closed a couple times, and I have to tell you, part of me is always a little bit nervous about it, but every time I've seen him do it, it turns out amazingly well, okay? Now, I'm a little bit paranoid, so I want to make sure everybody's eyes are closed. All right, hands up. Okay, hands down. Okay, you can open your eyes. All right, so I don't want to make anybody feel bad about it. I want to make people feel safe, okay? And I want to make people feel safe. You want to know what my number one technique is to make people feel safe? Coy, what do you think my number one technique is to making people feel safe? What do you think it is? It really comes down to one word.
Love.
Love? Love is a great word. God, man, that may be better than my word, okay? Susan loves that, okay? I'm going to tell you it's vulnerability, okay? I'm willing to be honest with you. One of the things I love about Davey is he's willing to be honest with you. We are not trying. We are getting ready to change the home inspection industry again and change coaching again. And I will tell you that what you're sitting here in doesn't exist in other worlds, doesn't exist in other businesses. I mean, Vance, how many masterminds have you and I been part of or gone to in the last 20 years, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, lots.
Lots, right? You ever seen anything quite like what we do here?
Yeah, certainly no.
No, absolutely not. I mean, thank you. How many masterminds have you been to that bring in your handmade coffee for you at around 2 o'clock? Okay, I don't know any. All right, but again, it's part of that love. Okay, if I want it for myself, then maybe other people want it too, and so we're willing to try to do that. And then Miss Belinda makes that come real. All right. One of the things that he also did for his people in the truth category, and let's just refresh our memories here, okay? The name of this chapter to some degree is Learn the Truth. Learn the truth, all right? How do you learn the truth from people? Do you think if you ask them, they're going to tell you the truth all the time? No. Okay? I have 4 kids. Trust me. Learning the truth sometimes is a chore, right? And in employees, it's the same thing. And with coworkers, it's the same thing, right? People tell you what they think you want to hear, more likely than anything else. Now, one of the things is, though, what Davey did and the way Davey got some feedback, and he has a feedback form that we did with the inspector group, and we're going to do it with Coach Blueprint too, because we'd like your feedback. We'd like to know how you feel about how many meetings should we have a year, okay? How often should we do this? How often should we do that? What do you think the numbers of this will do to reflect here? What have they done for you so far? Just simple questions, but what we learned from that was just amazing, astounding. Now it will be really interesting, Davey, to see if there's a huge difference between one group and the other. And that may mean that we have to restructure completely, okay? I will tell you this. Some people said, I would like more of Mike Crow, one-on-one. That isn't likely to happen anytime soon, okay?
That was Jonathan. I was gonna say, can I sign up for that bus?
But here's the thing is, all right, so one of the things that he did at Disney was he conducted 3 sessions called the top 10 questions you wish people would not ask you. And what he found was that there were questions that people said, for instance, why don't people in my position get paid more? Wow, okay? Things aren't like they used to be. Why did they change? And how can we restore the good things we lost? Man, when they took out, what was the submarine ride, Susan?
20,000 leagues.
20,000 leagues under the, when they took that ride out, I was not happy. I have pictures of Jonathan and Krista when they were young looking at that little peephole. And I had hoped I would be able to do that with my other kids and my grandkids, and then the ride, disappeared. Life changes, things happen, okay? I found out later why they took it out, okay? They couldn't get the damn things to stop leaking, okay? But you know what? I went to Tokyo, and they redesigned the ride differently, but the same. So it's still out there. Now I just have to take them to Tokyo. Jonathan, you in?
Down.
Down, okay.
What time's the flight leave?
How do you work with someone you don't like or trust? How can you honor this? Or how can we retain quality employees? Or why does my healthcare package do this? Why does our CEO earn millions per year and I can't get a modest raise, okay? Isn't the last initiative to streamline blah, blah, blah? Will the company maintain its pension? How should we respond to direct reports asking, what's the best way to focus on flawless performance, okay? So he lists a bunch of these questions. These are great questions for you on page 178. I skipped a page on page 180 and 181. And here's the thing is, these are probably questions that go around in your business as well. And these are questions that at some point you have to answer, you have to figure out to make that work, okay? And then get formal feedback about yourself. to some degree, that's what Davey just did, okay? Get some formal feedback about yourself. And again, we'll do some more feedback there. Constantly evaluate your spending, which is something that Susan reminds me that I need to do more. I am a spendthrift, okay? Now, I spend money on other people more than myself, but I'm a spendthrift, okay? And that means that, we don't keep $1 million in the bank, which really surprises a lot of people. I have to be, we're getting ready to take a trip to Disney, okay? And by the way, some people say, God, I wish I was your kids. And Jonathan, you'll tell them what?
Be careful what you wish for.
Be careful what you wish for, okay? So, for instance, I'm taking 15 people on a Disney cruise in June, okay? And then after that, we're going to Disney for a week, and we're staying on Disney vacation and property and everything, and I'm paying for everything, basically, okay? Yeah, so, and if I told you what it cost, some of you would fall out of your chair, okay? And so you have to keep an eye on your spending. And it's one of the things I love about Davey because, that whole get paid part, somehow I missed that a little bit, okay? And when I was poor, being able to have money changed the whole perspective. Now, the best book I came across on that was The Richest Man in Babylon. Thank you. I was getting ready to ask somebody what that was, but The Richest Man in Babylon completely changed my life in that regard.